Co-Conspirators is a comedy podcast. We in no way endorse or believe the theories suggested during our program. Everything can be explained. Everything. The year is 1937. Amelia Earhart sets out on a circumnavigational flight around the globe, following the equator. It isn't long before she and her navigator, Fred Noonan, disappear without a trace somewhere over the central Pacific Ocean. What happened to Earhart? Was some kind of wormhole evident? Did she fake her death for some unknown reason? Or did she simply crash and was lost within the turmoil of the ensuing World War? Find out today on Co-Conspirators. Hello, and welcome to Co-Conspirators, a comedy podcast focusing on conspiracy theories, old and new. I'm your host, Alex, and joining me are my wonderful friends.
Hi, I'm Justice.
I'm your sexy stewardess, Nico.
And I'm Sloan.
Are you gonna, is
Nico,
gonna
where
start
did that
being
come
like
from?
topical to what we're talking about now? Your stewardess?
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
I got some roasted nuts ready.
Bet you do, bud.
I'm really mad that you made me follow
Ready to
that.
serve it up.
Well,
I
now you
wasn't
know.
ready.
Now you know what's coming from now on, I guess.
I can't let you know what I'm gonna do.
Oh, Jesus.
I must maintain the element of surprise.
Okay,
guess.
God damn it. So we're gonna be talking about Amelia Earhart today, who did their research.
I feel like this episode is going to be possibly shorter than our others just because it's focusing on something that's a lot more recent and it's focusing on like one tiny incident.
Oh,
Well,
don't
I mean,
worry.
it was a big event, but I feel like all of our other stuff has involved like communities, and this is a little bit smaller. I think it's really interesting how
Last
different
night,
it was.
I was thinking about this episode, and I came up with the most elaborate theory. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's completely true.
Well, yeah.
As to what exactly happened to
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart.
Justice, I always like hearing what you think happened before we get into any actual details. So could you regale us what happened to
Yeah,
Amelia
go ahead and hit
Earhart?
us.
Yes, gladly, I shall. So, as we all know, Amelia Earhart was trying to fly across the Atlantic to get to the other
Like a
side as
chicken.
fast as possible. I believe was her goal, to be as fast as possible. She was going to be the first woman to do it. And somewhere along the way in the Bermuda Triangle, I believe, she went down and crashed on an island, and they found maybe some wreckage that they think was possibly her, but they never found Amelia Earhart herself. So we have no idea what happened to her. Now, my theory is, and that's all I know about the actual Amelia Earhart, but my theory is that this is actually more of like a present-day theory, not so much of a what happened, but what is happening, is the mystery of Amelia Earhart has not been solved and has been the main goal of NASA this entire time. NASA was founded, as we all know, after Amelia Earhart disappeared. And it was, in fact, not founded because we were trying to get to space or be cooler than the Russians. It was, in fact, because they were searching for Amelia Earhart. And they needed to find her. But they had to do it in such a way that it wasn't obvious that they were looking for her, because many people think Amelia Earhart was a hermit, somewhat. She didn't like being around people, so if she found out that they were searching for her, she would go into deeper hiding, and so they had to be a little bit roundabout with it. So they decided to make a space program to launch rockets into space, but they were like, we're going to go to space, but actually we want these rockets to be kind of like able to fly around. We want to have the satellites in the air so that we can have surveillance and look for Amelia Earhart. So it's actually the biggest search and rescue operation
It makes sense,
in
though.
the history of...
It makes sense because
Yes.
NASA actually stands for National Administration Searching for Amelia, and then parentheses Earhart.
Exactly.
Oh.
I have a huge question. Have you just turned Amelia Earhart
Go ahead.
episode into also the moon landing was fake, and it's actually just launching satellites to find Amelia Earhart?
It wasn't faked so much as they went there to look for her. They didn't find her, so they came back.
they
Oh,
left
I
on
want
the
you to remember
moon.
that when we
So-
cover the moon landing.
What was the probability?
No stone unturned.
What was the probability of her being on the moon in their mind? It had to have been pretty high for them to like take that risk.
There
right?
was a chance that she had clipped out of the atmosphere when she landed
No
and
clip?
was
Say
launched.
clipped, do you mean like when you get off the map during a video
Yes,
game?
similar to what happens in video games, which are very realistic and lifelike. So this could have happened to her, and so that was the chance that they had to take.
Also, like, it's so she's going to be in the last place you look, and the last place I would look is the
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
So I get the thought process.
That's a pretty good point.
You would. You would get this thought process.
So, what did you say their goal was? Like, why did they want to find her so desperately?
So, really, one of the biggest things that humans struggle with is solving mysteries, and so I think that Mr. NASA himself,
John NASA.
I know that it was also John NASA, who NASA was named after, but then they like conveniently repurposed the acronym to what you said earlier, Nico.
National Administration searching for Amelia, parentheses,
Exactly.
Earhart, close parentheses.
So he was close friends with Amelia's family and always wanted to find her and solve that greatest mystery of his time.
Oh my god.
I mean, and we can
That's
relate.
Inspiring.
We can relate. We're trying to
That's
solve
just so
mysteries.
inspiring. Humanity bonding together to search for one person for
Legally,
60
can we
years.
release this if it makes people dumber?
Oh no, because of this podcast, I've
I
lost
think we're allowed to do
information I
whatever we want.
previously had.
Oh my god.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I fully believe that this is true.
It kind of
I've
contradicts
been watching
my
the
theory.
why
launch.
does
They
NASA
might find
so-
Amelia today. Dating
when they
this
didn't
podcast.
find her on the moon.
They
the
didn't.
space race kind of slowed down. Also, why was Russia trying to go to the moon?
So they thought that Amelia was actually crossing the Atlantic hiding state secrets, and they wanted to get those secrets from her. They involved some high-up figures in the
That-
military.
I think it was envy.
That. Actually, that does relate to a conspiracy theory related to Amelia Earhart, where a lot of people thought she was a spy, and like her whole mission across the Atlantic and stuff was in fact like she was supposed to go spy on the Japanese. So maybe the Russians just wanted the spy.
Do you guys think that the fastest way to get
Yeah.
to Japan is across the Atlantic?
Well, back then, they were always making navigational mistakes. Landing on Roanoke,
If you
accidentally
go through
that
the portal
America's
at the
India.
Bermuda Triangle, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was,
that's-
they were
okay,
using
that
the
makes sense.
quantum
It's like a small
super
wormhole.
Deluxe wormhole that exists factually.
I of course say this in jest because Russia didn't. She wasn't a spy. Like Russia, if like they were also searching for Amelia, it was just because they wanted what we have. It's just kind of like I want it, so you don't have it. It was petty. Just
They wanted
pettiness.
planes, and which they.
Oh,
didn't
I thought
have
you
at
guys
the
were going to
time.
say powerful women.
I
Okay.
mean,
What? Who?
this was like the 40s
They want
and shit.
powerful
They
What is
don't-
that?
women aren't real people to them yet. I mean, arguably, I don't know if they.
Okay.
Wow.
Like, a lot of
Okay.
people still probably don't think they're real people because we live in a
So
society.
okay,
Go on.
can I go ahead and give my theory then?
Please.
Because it doesn't actually contradict Justice's. I think we can they can kind of coexist. I think the reason she went missing was because, and say it with me, the patriarchy. Nobody said it with me.
The patriarchy. I'm sorry, I was a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
delayed.
you gotta count for. You want to try it again? You want to go again?
Yeah, okay. On 3. 1, 2. Patriarchy.
The patriarchy.
Oh, on 3.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
I
Right.
can't say 3
Patriarchy.
and patriarchy at the
Well, you
same
could have
time.
like used your. We have a video call.
It could have
It's
been
an audio
three
podcast, but
patriarchy.
we can see each other. You could have been like 3, 2, 1. I don't know why I ended with the middle finger.
See, but that won't help because I don't look at any of you. I only look at myself.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
Oh, I saw that coming. Okay.
I've only been looking at you, Nico, so
So-
it's okay.
But okay, the reason patriarchy is to blame for why Amelia Earhart went missing is Charles Lindbergh. He flew across the Atlantic first, correct?
Sure.
I think he did.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look into that.
And Amelia Earhart wanting to prove that women can just do just as good as the man she also tried to fly across and tried doing the same things that he did, including not ask for directions along the way, and that's why she got lost.
I would like to clear something
In
up
fact,
for our listener.
Charles Lindbergh was her big brother, and that's how the big brother thing started. People calling
I'd like to clear
patriarch.
something up for the listener. They're saying fly across the Atlantic just because they think
I
that's
don't
what
remember.
she was doing.
Somebody else said it.
I did zero research.
She was flying around the whole globe. She was circumnavigating the
Well, that would
equator.
involve flying
So-
across the
Yes,
Atlantic at
Sloan.
some point.
But she already had done that, and this wasn't like a new feat. She had previously flown across the Atlantic. Was the second person in history to do it, I believe. It took her like 15 hours, but she already had done that. But this trip, she started in California and flew across the States and then across the Atlantic and then across, like Africa, Europe, Asia. Like, she was trying to go around the whole equator, but they would make like stops. And this trip was supposed to take like 40 days. Like, that's insane.
That's
Wow.
half the time of that movie with Jackie Chan.
Around the world in 80
That's
days.
the one.
It's based on Amelia Earhart, but they got the time wrong.
I thought it was
That makes
called
sense.
40 Days and 40 Nights. I don't know why. And I got real confused. I was sitting there, I was like, what was that? Was it 40 Days, 40 Nights? And they're like, yeah, around the world in 80 days. I'm like, what the fuck am I thinking about?
Well, there's a movie called 40 Days of Night.
I thought it was 30 Days of Night. Hold on. This isn't important.
My favorite
Is it?
adaptation of that story was the one where Tweety Bird had to like fly around the world and get an 80 days and also get the paw prints of 80 cats
Oh, yeah.
to prove a point.
I have never
I
seen
don't
that.
know.
You can cut this.
No, this is staying in. This is all good content. This is stupid.
Is it?
Listen, Sloan said we had to pad it out because she said it wasn't going to be long enough. So,
So if you are getting
Well, I thought it was
annoyed
gonna be
with this
shorter, but we're
listening,
proving me wrong already. So, well, I couldn't come up. I didn't like last time. I had a theory of my own that I made up. Obviously, I had my own conspiracy. This time, I couldn't think of anything. I did my research and I was like, does anything fit? And I
I
just
have
couldn't come up with
an
it.
established theory we could talk about. Well, established in that it's popular. That,
and the fact that like when you Google Amelia Earhart conspiracy, it's like one of the first two like search
hey,
results.
hey.
Is that what
I
you mean
only
by
use
established?
Wikipedia, okay.
How did you get to Wikipedia without Google?
Yeah, it's going to show up in the first two
Hey,
search results.
I mean, I did use Google, but I mean, you can
Exactly.
get to Wikipedia without Google.
There is no, you can't. It's impossible.
I have not done it successfully.
I am losing brain cells. This is actively making me. Anyway,
So, Sloan, where did Amelia Earhart supposedly disappear?
Yeah.
She was between
Quiet, Alex.
New Guinea and what was the
Bermuda
name of the
Triangle.
island she was flying to?
Fiji.
Okay.
Was it?
I mean, anyway, so yeah, she was in the South
well,
Pacific.
weird. That relates
At the
exactly to the theory
See.
I was trying to bring up before Justice just undercut me like a son of a bitch.
Spain, tell us about this theory.
Calm down.
God damn it. So,
You're becoming hysterical.
yeah, a lot of people think she might have just crashed near like Papua New Guinea or something. There were some people, like some fucking soldiers or something. I don't remember. I'll probably talk about it in the blurb. That's future me's problem. Apparently, they found wreckage that they think could have been her plane, but it's kind of like Roanoke, where every time they went to like they were gonna send somebody, it just didn't happen. Nobody really looked into it until like everybody else was
Okay,
dead.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. How many plane crashes could there be that like, oh, this is someone else's plane? Like, how many people were flying at that time?
Well, the thing is, we fought a war in that area, so
Yeah, I mean, that
a
could
lot
be-
more than
Wait,
you
what year was
expect.
this?
Oh, so I thought this was like way before
No,
the
it was like
World
30s and
Wars.
40s.
They disappeared in 1937. So the wars, well, there had been one war before, but then there was one after, and so when they were searching, they didn't have the technology we do at the time, so it was slower and things like that.
Oh, they weren't searching like
And also-
immediately.
They also didn't have great relations with Japan, which I think Alex has a theory about that, right?
I mean, like,
Is that what you were going to talk about?
Yeah, a lot of people think or thought that she was a spy going, like, getting information from Japan and flying over there and being like, heard her, I'm Amelia Earhart, I'm in Japan now. This isn't odd.
Well, so the theory actually goes that the government asked her to purposefully crash near the Marshall Islands because they were currently, at the time, they were controlled by Japan, and the U.S. wanted a reason to do reconnaissance in the area. So there was a theory that it was very convenient that she went down. I think she was 350 miles from, like, these islands at the point when they think she went down. So that was a theory that she may have crashed there to purposefully allow the U.S. to spy on Japan.
But she fucked up and died.
Ah.
Oh
They
my
never
God.
found a body.
There actually...
They also didn't steal Nintendo secrets.
There actually is kind of a theory that... And I think there were lawsuits over this, that she just assumed another life and another identity, and, like, they thought she was this whole other woman, and I'm pretty sure she ended, like, suing people because it was, like, defamation or some shit, and, like, yeah.
So there was a book published. So it was said that after she crashed to spy on Japan, that they were taken prisoners of war, but after the war, they were released back to the United States, and the U.S. Gave Amelia a new identity, and she ended up in, like, New Jersey under this new name, and some author published this, and the woman whose name he gave, like, he actually thought that it was her. She ended up suing him for everything he was trying to say about her, because it was just some crazy debacle.
Unless it really was Amelia and she was trying to cover up
I mean,
that she was
I'll be
secretly
honest.
Amelia Earhart.
I looked
Yeah.
at the pictures of the
True.
two women of, like, Amelia Earhart before, and then the woman, and I was like, ah!
And you know what?
I looked
No,
at their
it's the
photos
same
too,
woman.
and I
It's the
don't
exact
think
same
that they look alike. I
But
don't
did
think
you
so.
know that the name of that author? John NASA.
He used it to
I
reinforce
thought you were going to
his
do a
theory.
callback to Salem and say it was
Oh, yeah.
whoever wrote that
Arthur
other
Miller?
book.
Can Arthur Miller... Can we just have
Yeah.
Arthur
Time
Miller
traveled.
be a
That's what I was
recurring theory,
expecting.
too?
No, I can
He's
only-
just always there doing something.
The time
Much
traveler.
like, my really, the chief real theory is aliens. We know it. It's always aliens.
Go on.
She ran
Aliens.
into a tractor beam as she was flying. She got beamed up, but her plane didn't come with her because, as you know, it was one of those, like, top open planes
Oh.
where you sit. It's like the two wings, and then you,
biplane?
like, have a little open hatch that you sit in. Yeah, biplane. That was what she was flying, as we all know, and so she could be lifted out of the plane, and it would stay down. So the
Justice,
aliens could only get her,
You're so
but
close.
they found the wreckage.
It's...
Okay, was she an alien?
No.
Because who else
No,
but, like, an
not yet.
alien would know how to fly a contraption? Like
Give
that.
me 1 second while I Google something. What was the name of this?
I mean,
They
Orville and Wilbur could have been
possibly-
aliens.
Could have beamed instructions into her head.
So, much like Stephen King's wonderful story, The Langoliers, when she passed through the Bermuda Triangle, there's a wormhole, like we said, and inorganic matter couldn't pass, but she did, and it was an alien portal, and she was taken to the aliens, but the plane just kept going and crashed. So her and her co-pilot, navigator, whatever he was, there was another dude, he's not important.
You made us stop recording so you could
Hey!
come up with that?
Don't reveal the movie magic. So yeah, much like the Langoliers, she was
Has complete
taken by the
control.
aliens, and that's where she's. It's a.
I don't know
Yeah,
that
did-
story, so I don't know what you're
Read it.
referencing.
I recommend it.
Did
Yeah.
you read
Yeah.
it?
I've never read
Man, I
Stephen
love
King.
Stephen King. That's not important though. What is important is it was aliens.
How-
So he must have known about, maybe he was Stephen King was the co-pilot who was taken with Amelia Earhart, so he
That
has,
all
like,
makes sense
first-hand
now.
knowledge
All of his books.
of what happens through the
I'm gonna
portal
tweet this
after the
episode at
Bermuda
him.
Triangle, which Bermuda Triangle, in this time period in history, was actually Bermuda traveling triangle, and it moved around frequently. So no one ever knew like where exactly it was, and so this time it was actually in the Pacific.
Why was it called Bermuda Triangle if it wasn't in
It was that was the first place it was discovered.
Ah,
in
okay,
Bermuda.
okay.
It was it migrates like whales do.
Yes. In fact, there's a theory that the 3 islands of the Bermuda Triangle are 3 extremely large whales that have islands on their back.
Yeah. Or like
Is that a
the
theory?
turtles that the world.
The
Exactly.
turtle! Oh my god, that's a Stephen King thing. The turtle, oh my god, behold the turtle of enormous girth. On his shell he holds the earth. It's all making sense.
That's
Or
not
like
just
the
Stephen
lion
King.
turtles in
I
Avatar,
know,
The Last
That's
but
not
it's
a
a
Stephen
thing
King
that
thing. That's
he
like a creation myth.
Point
Terry
is,
Pratchett also did that.
He got the
oh my
idea from
god,
the
it's all
whales that
coming
were
together.
holding the Bermuda Triangle up.
Stephen King, clearly, is Amelia Earhart's whatever the fuck he will. I don't know or care. He's not Amelia Earhart, so he's not famous.
You have to care. That's what this podcast is about. Is
it's
us
about
caring.
the conspiracy theories and how batshit insane they are.
Okay, I have another theory.
I thought it was we'd come
so
up with them.
It's a little this, little that.
Yeah,
Like
I've
Justice.
just come up with another one.
Yeah, Justice got this.
We talked about how Amelia Earhart might have been like told to intentionally crash so that they could be spying on the Japanese, but in fact, there was an even larger ploy by fashion designers. They wanted a new fashion style, and they didn't know how to do it. So they couldn't get enough people around. They were like, nobody's taking up this cool scarf fashion style. That's all I remember about what Amelia Earhart wore. Cool
So
scarf.
you want the aviatrix
Yes.
style they wanted it to be top
They
tier.
wanted it to take
Everyone
off,
doing it.
so to speak.
Mhm.
And the only way to do it was to make someone famous while wearing it. And what better to make someone famous than to have them disappear, be on the news all the time. Everybody wanted to be her, they had like a little like wanted poster for her, like if you see this woman. And so people would go to the address, they'd be like dressing
So in
up
like
as her.
Arkansas, there was just wanted posters of
It's like on the
Amelia
side of
Earhart.
cartons
And
of milk.
they had like come to this office, come to town hall if you are her or know her. So people dressed up as her and came, and so that started this fashion trend. Everybody was dressing up as Amelia Earhart,
Yeah.
and boom, it just took off.
And like most fads, it goes away, but then it came back in the 80s with Top Gun and Tom Cruise.
Yes,
But that was more of like,
this time Top Gun was a lot more efficient. They didn't actually have to
Kill a woman.
make anyone disappear to
Yeah.
get this fashion
had
design
to kill
off the
Goose.
ground. They just made a movie
they
of
just
it.
they just needed shirtless volleyball and aviator
And very
sunglasses.
not subtle homoeroticism.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen that movie.
I haven't
but
either, but I know.
I don't know that I should ever watch it now.
It's got a sequel coming out.
Everybody knows they were gay. I think, there's a sequel, and it's got fucking Tom Cruise in it, which...
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
All right, I want to give you guys the facts, and then I want to lead into a very big conspiracy, possibly true theory. This is the one that I'm going with. There's like a lot of people say that it's most likely that they just crashed somewhere, died on impact, or
And crabs
drowned,
ate them.
something like
Crabs
that.
ate them. Alien
Spain.
crabs.
Alex, stop! I'm gonna murder you. Let me get to that, okay?
Alien crabs.
Alright, so on July 2nd, 1937, Amelia Earhart and her co-pilot, Fred Noonan, disappeared while on a trip attempting to circumvent the equator. Their trip was going to be 29,000 miles. That's a lot. It was going to take 40 days. They were flying from California to California.
Oh, that's easy.
Their
Yeah, it's
plane...
an easy flight.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just
No,
like...
no.
Just go from the tip to the bottom. I mean, it's fucking like,
Hey, you
what's
guys
the
want to
big
see
deal?
me? You guys want to see me circumnavigate the globe? Want to see me do it again?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Wow,
sure,
that was
okay,
amazing.
fine.
Yeah.
why
I wish this was
being
a
such
video
babies about
podcast.
it.
Their plane, which I didn't know this before I looked it up, was a Lockheed 10, which is the precursor to the whatever Grimes and Elon Musk named their baby. But it was a special one. It was a Lockheed 10 Electra. It had special fuel tanks to carry 1,000 pounds of fuel. Normally the ship only carries ship. Why do I keep saying
I don't know,
ship?
because you
I mean,
the
it's a
plane only
flying
carries
get infected.
200 pounds, but this one carried 1,000. It was special. So they disappeared between Lae, New Guinea, and Howland Island. It was a 256-mile trip, about 18 hours. During the trip, there was a radio operator on Howland Island, their destination, that was in contact with them, and about every hour he would check in. During the first few hours, he was trying to radio and tell them that there was new unexpected headwinds, but he wasn't able to make contact. At about 2:18 p.m., he heard from Amelia and Fred, and they gave an okay status and said that they were at 7,000 feet. Later, I don't remember how much time later, they unexpectedly had an altitude of 10,000 feet, they reported. And that kind of leads into like the alien theories, because they don't know why they changed their altitude so drastically, because all that would have done is waste their fuel. And if Amelia was an experienced aviatrix, she would have known that they were dealing with worse headwinds, so she wouldn't have taken any chances to reduce their fuel. There was a Coast Guard ship providing communications that was off the coast of Howland Island, and they were actually, because of the way that the radios worked at that time period, they could tell that she was getting closer because the signal was getting stronger. So Earhart and the ship both thought that they were like right on top of each other at one point. The radio operator had gone outside to look around to see if he could spot them because he thought they were so close, and Earhart had said something like, "We must be right on top of you, we just can't see you." She did radio and say, this is a direct quote, that gas is running low. That was a quote. At 8:43 a.m., the last transmission from Earhart came in stating that they were dangerously low on fuel, and it gave the coordinates of the line that they were flying along. And then that was it. There's no 100% proof of what happened after that. Ships did search pretty much within the next 2 years. They were searching. There were ships from military ships out looking for them, but that's when she could have ditched and gone to the Marshall Islands or gotten abducted by aliens, or any of that could have happened. The line that they gave their coordinates as flying along led to another island that was further south called Nkumaroro. I hate that name. It's so hard to say.
You did great.
And a few years later, in 1939 or 1940, a British officer searched the island and found a campsite, a sextant box which would hold a sextant which was used to navigate, and he found a partial human skeleton. The bones were examined by a doctor who said that they belonged to a small European male. He then had the bones destroyed, and that's kind of a weird move, but I don't think they ever exactly said what he did when he got rid of them. So the bones, he did take notes on them, and an analysis showed later that they could have belonged to Earhart because instead of it being a small male, it was probably just a woman, was the guess by more recent doctors. They think that they died on this island and that crabs ate them.
So
crabs.
So the
alien crabs.
The skeleton. I guess the easiest way to kind of tell if it was Amelia Earhart, did it seem hot or not? Because that's the real question.
I would say it was a hot skeleton.
Was it
The sun was
Amelia
beating down
Earhart?
a lot.
Hot or not? I think
Well, as we said before, the fashion statement, so she was the epitome of the hottest fashion in the world at the time. So one could say she was hot.
Definitely hot.
Hot.
There's like more for this theory too. So they think that the coconut crabs that lived on this island, they can break coconuts. They think that they carried off some of the bones, and that's why it's only a partial skeleton, and why they didn't find Noonan's skeleton.
Yeah, some bitches are big. You ever seen them? Yeah, coconut crabs.
Yeah,
No.
they're the largest. They're the largest arthropod on land that we have.
Wow. Did they not have black boxes in planes at that
No.
time?
Don't think. Yeah.
No, there wasn't the right technology, computer to record
Those
data
things are
and
held
things
together
like that.
with fucking duct tape and prayers.
So there's a couple more things that support the theory that they went down specifically on this island. There was a teenager who claimed that she heard Earhart on her radio calling for help.
And she just let her fucking rot. What a bitch.
did like one of the crabs.
No, she wrote down everything she heard. She recorded it all in a notebook, and her dad turned it into the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard didn't take it seriously because they were getting reports from all over the world that everyone had news on where she was at the time.
All the
because
cosplayers.
all of the... Yeah. So, I mean, people were thinking that they heard her, so they ignored this. However, the times from this teen girl's notes line up with low tide on Nikumaroro, which would have been when the radio was easier to access if the plane had gone down in the water. So that kind of lends a little bit of,
Credence.
I don't know, support to the theory that they may have gone down there.
The crabs that carried her away, like part of the corpse away, like did like they ever find like some very fashionable crabs on that island with like the tattered clothes they probably stripped?
They found a crab wearing a scarf. It was just unexplainable. I don't know.
We solved it.
Theory proven.
Oh my god. How did no one think of this before?
I mean, that's just an alley-oop right there.
But they only found one body or one skeleton. What happened to the other person who you said there was?
We were here to
co-pilot?
figure out what happened to Amelia Earhart. Anyone else does not matter.
I've already said what happened to him, and you ever
Right.
think about how silent Stephen King is about Amelia Earhart? I mean, he's never talked about it.
It's true. He's
I
never
mean, we
written about
all
her.
know
that's true.
Stephen King.
Perhaps he
is
ate her and then blamed the
All right,
crabs.
well, maybe. It's alien crabs. The alien crab people abducted Amelia Earhart and spared Stephen King, then Stephen Noonan, or whatever the fuck the guy's name was, I don't remember already. And then they ate her and put him back, and he started a new life in Maine as a writer.
Mm.
So I actually have
Just
more
like Stephen King novels,
for
that's a
this.
disappointing end.
Ow! Ow! I can't tweet this again now. Wow.
Oh my
I'm sure he
God.
knows. Shawshank's good. Shawshank ended fine. I enjoyed that one.
Steven, I want to have a talk about the end of the fucking Dark Tower series, but we'll get into that later.
Are you talking to Stephen King,
Yeah,
who is
yeah,
not
he's-
here?
He's
Stephen King
going
listens
to,
to this
after I
podcast.
tweet it to him and become super famous, he's gonna listen to it.
Do you really
And-
think he's going to listen this far?
I mean, not after your
He's gonna
fucking
make it all the way to
comment.
episode
No,
3.
you've ruined it.
Stephen King's not even going to like listen to the part where I,
I think he
say I'm
stopped
the sexy
listening as soon as we
stewardess.
started talking about the turtle thing.
Stephen King is gonna be our biggest fan, and we're gonna take off thanks to him.
So, my favorite part of this theory about the crabs and that island and everything is that after the doctor that examined the bones at the time got rid of them, I couldn't really figure out what he did with them. Last year, they found bones in a museum on either like New Guinea or Fiji that matched the bones that the doctor was supposed to get rid of, so maybe he just gave them away. And it was a human skeleton, so they put it in a museum. So last year they started doing testing to see, like late last year, to see if this is actually Amelia Earhart. And I don't have any follow-up for that at this point, but that's really cool, and I'm kind of hoping that I haven't just missed an article that
Do they
says
have-
it's not
So we need to
her.
go on a field trip.
Original DNA samples from her that they could compare to?
No, but they could do things like see how old the bones actually were. They could test to see if it was female as opposed to
They can
male.
see if it's hot or
they
not.
They could get a better idea of.
I'll be looking for that article on National Geographic.
Fingers crossed.
They could get a better idea of like their genetic history. You know, we have like the capability through a lot of places to see, you know, kind of where your ancestry's from now and things like that. So they could do a better match. And I don't know, maybe she has living relatives, descendants, or, you know, somebody that they could even test to see if it's close to.
Fingers crossed. Nothing comes of that, because otherwise this fucking entire episode is a wash. So.
No, but think how cool that
No,
would be.
it's aliens,
I think that would
that's
just
all
be
that matters.
I don't think it
incredible.
proves anything wrong. NASA still has a valid mission.
Yeah.
If they find her, it's
I mean,
fine.
like,
NASA
yeah.
has made a lot of other advances.
John NASA can
in the
finally
pursuit of
rest
Amelia.
once they like confirmed his watch will have finally
Yeah.
ended.
John Nass was just in love with her, and he
Yes.
just wanted to find the love of his life. Hold on, let me
No,
get
he
a
was
clean
writing
take
the
of that.
article.
Love of his life.
You want to do one more for good measure?
Love of his life. The shame is now I have to leave all that in.
Or cut all of it?
Or cut all of it. Yeah, but yeah, I guess kill your darlings. Anyway, we've about wrapped up.
Those
I
are all
feel
the
like there
theories
was,
I
like-
could think of.
I thought there was a theory that I didn't write down, but I can't think of what it was right now. I thought one of you guys would bring it up. Oh, the photo! Do you guys know about the photo?
No.
So, there was supposedly this photo that showed Earhart and Noonan just chilling on one of these islands, like, at some point. And people are like, that's definitely them. However, this theory was debunked because the photo was found in a book from 5 years earlier, from before their crash. So it couldn't have been
You
them.
know who it? What you know what that is, though, right?
Time travel.
Yep. It's the that author.
I was expecting Arthur Miller. You have a degree in English.
Obviously,
How?
he's not that fucking important besides his amazing advances in time travel.
No,